As the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah escalates in Lebanon and northern Israel, the U.S. hopes of avoiding a wider war now depend on whether Iran gets directly involved. I had the chance to question Iran's new president, who speaks to the General Assembly later today, and to Iran's vice president right here in studio, Javad Zarif, in his first U.S. interview. Would you rule out retaliating for the attack that killed Hamas's political leader in your capital on the inauguration of your president?
Well, that was clearly an act of state terrorism and a clear violation of our sovereignty and our territorial integrity. We were asked by the international community to exercise restraint in order to bring about an end to the war in Gaza. Unfortunately, that promise has never materialized, and we have reserved our right to respond in a way, in the time and manner of our choosing.
You won't rule out retaliating?
No, we have said that we will respond in a manner of our choosing.
The ceasefire remains elusive. Israel, your president says, keeps raising obstacles. Doesn't Sinwar, the Hamas leader, also bear responsibility for not agreeing to the ceasefire and for raising new objections?
Well, I think Hamas and the Palestinians have been prepared to stop this war, provided that Israel is prepared to end its aggression against Gaza.
Couldn't Hamas end the hostilities by releasing the hostages immediately?
Well, there are prisoners on both sides, and I think the best way to end this is to release all prisoners who have been incarcerated on all sides.
Did Iran know that Hamas was going to attack Israel on October 7th and massacre so many people?
Well, Iran, I was not in the government at the time, but what I understand was that Iran had no knowledge of the operation by Hamas.
The nuclear issue is very much on the table. Will Iran now negotiate directly with the United States to try to revive a nuclear deal?
Well, it wasn't Iran that left the nuclear deal. It wasn't Iran that violated its obligations under the nuclear deal. So if the United States is prepared to return to the JCPOA, it should do so. And then there will be room for a lot of new opportunities to talk about things of mutual interest.
Secretary Blinken has said that Iran now has developed so much nuclear weapons-grade fuel that it could, if it wanted to, create a bomb within a week or two.
Well, they only have themselves to blame. Of course, Iran has said that we do not want to develop nuclear weapons. But if you're concerned, if the United States is concerned with the amount of uranium that Iran possesses, it can remedy this by going back and stopping this addiction to sanctions that has only hurt ordinary Iranian citizens. We cannot sit down idly and allow the United States to destroy our economy.
Shouldn't that be the subject of negotiation? Sanctions and some cap on nuclear development simultaneously?
Actually, we already have a negotiated text. We don't need to negotiate a deal we already negotiated. You do not buy a horse twice. We bought this horse already, and we paid the price for it. Now it's time for the United States to deliver the horse.
Iran has been providing Russia with drones for the war in Ukraine, and now it's been reported ballistic missiles, but has reportedly withheld the launchers for those missiles. Can you explain what that situation is?
Well, the United States and the Europeans have done a lot of things that are of concern to Iran. Dr. Pezeshkian's administration has not provided any weapons to Russia. We have not provided, since we took office, any missiles to Russia, and Iran has never provided any ballistic missiles to Russia.
So no drones have gone to Russia since you took office?
No.
And no ballistic missiles?
No ballistic missiles have been provided to Russia at all.
Given the attacks in Lebanon, the explosions of the pagers and the walkie-talkies, Is Iran concerned about the security of your own electronic devices?
Well, actually, Israel has made the international electronic business unsafe for everybody, not just for Iran. This was a huge blow to business security in the world.
Is it a blow to the security of Iran's military to communicate?
No, our military has the capability to detect this.
Let me ask you about reports from U.S. intelligence, which says that Iran was behind meddling and hacking of both the Democratic and Republican campaigns.
Well, we have no interest in U.S. elections. Of course, we watch it carefully, but we have no interest in changing the results or affecting the results of this election. We will wait for the decision of the American people in the elections, and we will act accordingly.
You have not hacked both campaigns, the Democrats and the Republicans, as U.S. intelligence says?
The government and official agencies of Iran have not hacked anybody.
But people working for you?
No, people working for us haven't either. But they're hackers. They're hackers in the United States, they're hackers in the region, they're hackers in Iran, they're hackers everywhere. We are ourselves victims of hacking and ransomware that are attacking our businesses, our central bank, other official government sites. So we're in it together, and there is a need to respond to this situation, not by accusing the government of Iran, but by addressing a problem that is a global problem.
An Iranian man who the U.S. says is working for Iran's government hired members of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang to kill an Iranian dissident in Maryland, the state of Maryland. Can you comment on that?
Well, I have no knowledge of that, and it is not the policy of the Iranian government to engage in such activity.
There are numerous American officials from the previous administration and this administration, military as well as diplomatic, who were under 24-hour guard because of, they say, threats of assassination from Iran through third parties.
Well, we do not assassinate people, but the fact of the matter is they assassinated a revered Iranian general.
General Soleimani.
General Soleimani. In a foreign territory, violating Iraqi sovereignty and violating international law. And they boasted about it. We don't boast about anything.
But is that a reason to have threats to kill the generals involved?
Well, actions have consequences. We have not taken action against them. We have said that we will pursue legal action against them.
What do you see as the future of your country? You're a new reformist administration, the president, you, the foreign minister. Do you have the leverage to reach out, make agreements, despite the very strong military presence of the Revolutionary Guard?
Well, President Pezeshkian ran on the platform of national empathy. And we believe that everybody in Iran has a stake in the future of Iran. Those who voted for him, those who didn't vote for him.
Does that include the women who have been arrested and some have died because of their refusal to wear the veil?
Well, the president has been on the record at the time and since then that we do not condone such policies and that we do our best in order to make sure that the women in Iran are respected with dignity in a dignified way. And that is why we have 4 women members of Iran's cabinet today, which is a record, probably in all Iranian history, both before and after the revolution. And we are proud of that. And we hope to make even more achievements in this regard. And the president is committed to doing that.
Toward equality for women and self-determination in the way they want to dress and work and go to school?
Well, law has to be observed, but the way women were treated or were reported to be treated was not acceptable to President Pezeshkian and to many others in the leadership in Iran.